Starting.
And I believe we are live.
Welcome to 2.5 oYajis with Kazuko from Japan. And the gong.
Yes.
And the gong.
And the gong.
Oh, wait, one more thing before we start. The beer.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I have a drink. Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers. I have a mouse. I actually just had a lot of wine before I came here, so I'm actually tanked, which is unusual.
Yes. Look at that. The opposite. We're switching. It's like Freaky Friday, except Freaky Wednesday.
It is. Yeah, that's right. Except.
I believe we are live.
Oh, there we go. Turn your speakers off.
I did. Okay.
So you're blaming Kazuko now?
待って。ちょっと待って。
You okay?
I know that's you, Victor. I know that's not Kazuko. It's always you that leaves your
Blame
speakers.
her today. She's a woman.
I'm okay now.
You're a sexist.
Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the August 6th. August 6th.
August 6th.
August 6th. Very important date. I'll tell you why in a few minutes. And our guest today is Kazuko from Japan and a drunk Hiko Simon. Very rare sight. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. I think that deserves 18 thumbs right there, because we never get a drunk Hiko Simon. And a sober Victor, who's just starting. Sober Victor.
You're behind, man. You're behind. You're always behind. Yes.
And Hiko, would we please inform our guest what is required of her on this prestigious occasion?
Oh, so I don't really know, but I think a musical introduction is called for under the circumstances.
Musical introduction.
Musical introduction.
We have a tradition that every time we have a show about sexual harassment, we require the victim to perform a song.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're not doing sexual harassment today.
Oh,
Look
good.
at the title. Japan versus Australia.
Well, I thought that was the same thing.
Really?
But I believe the young lady is ready.
Okay.
Here we go. Give it up for Kazuko from Japan.
And musical introduction.
Yes.
Comments. We have comments.
Comments?
I've got
Okay.
the comments. Okay.
Yeah, comments,
That's
good.
it.
Okay. Should I start?
Please.
Anytime.
Okay. Kazuko from Japan. I'm too good for the show. But I lost my bet. I lost the bet. Right.
That's why she's on the show. She lost a bet.
Yeah. Well, that's why most people come on the show, actually.
Right. That's a traditional thing.
They pay it off.
Yeah.
We have to buy your bet off the bookie.
Right.
Yeah.
Hiko, do you? I think I'm not sure if you've ever met before. Have you met before?
Yeah, she was on the show with Regan, right?
Oh, in the background. That's right. You said.
And actually, and you were promoting her, and you were telling me to go check her out, and I did. And I saw the embarrassment challenge things, and they were quite good. She makes very good videos.
They're actually called
Yeah, rejection therapy.
Rejection therapy. That's the one.
embarrassment challenge. But they are. You're right. They're an embarrassment. Like being on the show.
That's pretty much. It's the same thing. She's pretty well prepared for this show, actually.
Every week it's rejection therapy. That's why we have guests only every other week.
Hey, if that's going to be like the title of my autobiography.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah. Originally, I did. Let me clarify something. I asked. I was inspired by some comments on Facebook the other day regarding sexual street harassment. I'm not sure what you call it, but when guys harass women on the street, they catcall. They go, "Hey, baby, nice, shake it up, baby." What do they say, Hiko? I don't know. I'm not Australian, so.
Well, you mean what was the Australian version of that?
Yeah, well, what do you yell at girls on the street? Hey, baby, how you doing? You free? You looking good? What do you say?
We say, that's a nice-looking sheep. She looks really fluffy and woolly.
How much for the sheep?
Sheep.
How much for that sheep?
How much for the sheep?
We're not gonna. I thought it would be kind of strange to throw this at Kazuko, and from what I hear, Kazuko, you haven't had.
It is strange now that you're doing it.
Yeah, sexual harassment. You haven't had much sexual harassment on the street, have you?
No.
In Australia, well, we can talk about that. Australia, were you sexually harassed on the street in Australia?
I got baka on the street.
Baka.
They yell at me, baka. I'm like, how did they pick on Japanese?
Oh, you were surprised. You were not insulted. You were impressed.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Oh, Nihongo dekiru jan.
So.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not very knowledgeable about your countries because I've never been to either of yours, Hiko. And Hiko's been. Well, Hiko, what's your deal again? You're born in New Zealand?
Yeah, I moved back and I spent most of my childhood 1 year New Zealand, 1 year Australia, 1 year New Zealand, 1 year Australia.
Cool.
And so yeah, my mum's Australian, my sister's Australian, and I'm half Australian, and my mum lives in Australia now,
Right.
but I'm a New Zealander.
So where about in New Zealand?
Mostly, I went to high school in Auckland, so that's where I was the longest. But I was born in like army camps, and I lived in army camps in Australia.
That's how
My
you got
mum's in
it.
Queensland now.
Army camp?
Yeah, like army
Like
camps.
Darwin?
No, not as bad as Darwin. So my mum lives in right now. My family home is Brisbane.
Oh,
in
really?
Queensland.
I used to live there for 2 years.
Oh, okay. We're in Brisbane.
Carindale?
Oh yeah, I know Carindale, big shopping mall. Yes.
Yeah. Just next to the shopping center.
Yeah, in Indooroopilly, next to the other shopping centre.
All right. Cool.
But I grew up in southern Victoria.
Oh, Victoria?
Yeah, south of Melbourne, Sorrento.
Very nice.
Very nice area.
What's wrong with Darwin? I thought Darwin sounds like such a prestigious name to an ignorant American. Because we recognize it. What's wrong with it?
It's the Wild West. It's actually I know I have friends who live there. It's frontier land. It's not actually a proper state, Northern Territory. It's I don't know. It's like you can't swim in the ocean there because they have saltwater crocodiles and human-killing jellyfish and stuff.
Really?
But it's super hot.
Yeah, it's super
kind of
hot.
Lots of mines and real old-fashioned Wild West frontier type place.
So basically, the strongest survive. That's what they call Darwin?
Pretty much. That's right. The strongest survive in Darwin. That's right. A lot of men, not many women.
Oh.
Have you ever been there?
I've never been there. I've stopped there by airplane. In the old days, if you're flying to Southeast Asia, you had to stop in Darwin. But I've never been outside the airport. Yeah, it's a cool place.
Cool.
So, Hiko, if you could maybe guide us, because I don't even know where to start since I've never been to the countries. But
so we're talking about Japan versus Australia.
Yes. What are the differences? I figured both of you would know and have something to share regarding that.
So let's start off. So Kazuko, you've lived overseas, only in Australia. How many countries have you lived in?
I only lived in Australia.
And how long were you in Australia?
2 years.
Okay, so you were in Brisbane the whole time then?
Yeah, the whole time. But
Really?
I've done homestay in Melbourne.
Okay.
Only for 2 weeks. So yeah.
And so were you in Brisbane or Gold Coast or?
I was in Brisbane.
Okay, because for those people who don't know, first thing, Gold Coast is a bit like Honolulu for Japanese people. It's like very comfortable to be Japanese in Gold Coast. It's like a casino beach town. It's a bit like it is the Florida of Australia. Whereas Brisbane is a bit more of a big country. It was a country town.
It's like Nagoya, isn't it? Like not too big or too small. It's big enough. No.
If I were to characterize Brisbane, I would say Sapporo.
Sapporo.
Because there's no real industry in Brisbane. It's all kind of farmers and shopping malls and small business. Like Nagoya is a big city.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I don't think Brisbane is a country town that just got lots of extra people and spread out more and more. But it's never really become a city. It's a very nice place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you lived there. How old were you when you lived in Australia?
I was there from 22 to 24.
Okay, so were you studying or were you working or what were you doing?
I took 3 months English course first, and then I got a job. I found a job.
Yeah.
Working. Yeah.
Okay, so you're working most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't a student. It's more of a real life experience. So I mean, okay. So were you in a homestay or were you living in your apartment or how were you?
I was living in a share house.
Okay, with other Japanese people or with Australians?
No, with many people, with Aussies, with people from Europe, like Switzerlanders. You say that?
Swiss. Yeah.
Swiss and.
Outlanders.
Huh?
No, never mind.
誰だろう。いろいろ Belgium, Thailand,
Did you get along
Germany,
with everyone?
Zimbabwe. What?
Did you get along with everyone?
Yeah, they were really nice. Like all the international students or workers were really nice. Like French people. Yeah.
Even French people?
Yeah. Even French people? What do you mean?
Well, she doesn't know. You must have had good experiences. I hear the French are horrible.
Yeah, it's
They've got an international reputation for being pains in the ass.
違うよ. No. They're really nice.
No, they were rated worst tourists in the world last 2 years ago.
What? Really?
They are rated. They were rated by restaurateurs around the world as the worst, and hoteliers. The worst tourists in the world are French.
Why?
They're very demanding. They expect you to speak their language, and they want everything just perfect, and they bitch a lot. So they complain a lot, apparently. But that's what I hear. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they complain a lot. That's true. One of my friends.
Whenever I've been traveling,
They're
I've found
happy.
people.
They're worse than Americans, which is pretty bad.
So can I ask what you do for a job?
Yeah, I was working in an education agency. So I was supporting Japanese students who wants to study in Brisbane or in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had a pretty regular kind of a life there. So I guess, okay, so now we get into the real questions. So living in Australia like that and experiencing Australian life and not being in like a little Japanese bubble like a lot of Japanese people do, what were the things that you really felt were the biggest differences? What were the things you had to adjust to when you were living in Australia that were different to Japan?
As soon as I finish work, I just go home straight away. Yeah. That
And
was
you had
really
to adjust to that? That was a culture shock?
I'm
In
like,
Japan, you go
sweet.
out.
What?
In Japan, you go out usually
Go out, what?
after work.
How is that different to Japan?
Yeah, like you have to do overtime work.
Oh.
You have to work overtime, but in Australia, as soon as their shift finish, they can just go home and have fun.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. Good difference.
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah, I agree. When I did my first job in Japan for 3 years with no vacation almost, and I kind of burned out. And then I went to Brisbane for 3 months after I went back to my family home, and I realized in Australia exactly that. Everybody works until 5 o'clock, and everything closes, and then everyone goes home. And when you're going around at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night, you see everywhere families having barbecues in the park, going to the beach.
And in the parks, they have the barbecue facility everywhere. It's free, and you can just press the button, and the thing heats up.
I mean, can you imagine if you saw a Japanese family having a barbecue on a weekday at 6 o'clock in a park? Everyone would assume the father didn't have a job.
And I would check my calendar. I would think, what is today?
Right. Exactly.
But in Australia, and so what you realize with Australia, and this is very true, Australians, I think, work in order to have a good life after work. Japanese just work to work. Well, I don't know. They work because they feel an obligation to help everybody else at work. That's why they stay late.
Yeah.
So, I got so wrapped up in the Japanese work mentality, and when I went back to Australia, and it was so different. And Australians, they don't work as hard, but everything works really well.
So,
even though people don't work very much.
They delay their project or something, right?
Yeah.
Australians?
Somehow, but somehow it works.
Yeah.
And like if there's some construction on the way, and it says this building will be open this certain time, sometimes it's still like on the day. Sometimes the construction is still going. So
that'll be fine.
Yeah, like no worries, mate. Right?
Yeah.
That kind of attitude.
Do people really have that attitude? The no worries, mate? That reputation that Aussie?
Absolutely. That is the core of the psychology.
That is true, huh? That stereotype is true. I'm surprised.
And you flip it around the other way in Japan. People work so hard, and yet it's still, you notice that people don't get good results sometimes either. Like you see a lot of construction. Japanese spend so much energy on construction, but the roads are kind of a mess. There's no public facilities. You go to the beach, there's no showers, there's no barbecue places. In Australia,
right, you're right.
But in Australia, everything that people do with jobs is designed to make the lifestyle good.
Better,
they think about that all the time.
Right.
People don't think about making the quality of non-work life good in Japan.
Oh.
That's true.
That's a pretty accurate observation. But they are trying to. They are always working on trying to improve their work conditions, I guess, or the atmosphere in the work.
Or to work hard, or to show that they're supporting each other. But I mean,
Japanese.
That's what I find. But okay, so. But still,
it's more like if you're not doing anything, you feel guilty, right? In Japan, people make things you feel bad if you're not doing anything. So
they think you're lazy and they badmouth you when you're not there. But wait a minute. But okay, so at the moment, Australia sounds like paradise to a Japanese person. But is Australia paradise?
Paradise, not paradise. Like if you can change your attitude toward things, like you can, if you can be laid back, if you can laid back, and if you can accept like things delay, something like that, it's pretty easy. But if you cannot, if you're really real Japanese person who wants to follow the rules.
You mean anal?
Anal, なんだっけ anal to, yeah, you mean, yeah, anal.
Yes.
If you want to, so 神経質, if you want to follow certain rules, yeah, it's really hard to adjust because things are like, transportation is really bad. Like buses,
really bad.
It's really bad. Like sometimes the first bus, and 始発のバス, 始発 bus,
the first bus.
it doesn't come to the station. I'm like, what?
Really?
Yeah, it happens.
You go defend your country.
It's Australia. I'll defend New Zealand, sure.
So you're Kiwi.
Yeah, I'm a Kiwi, and this is the other problem. You know, Australians are extremely prejudiced towards New Zealand people.
Really?
Not really. It's kind of they like to give other countries a hard time. New Zealand, it's kind of good-natured, but
I love New Zealand. My sister's living there.
Oh really?
Yeah, she's studying there.
Oh.
Yeah, in Palmerston North.
Palmerston North. I used to live in an army camp, 2.5 hours drive from Palmerston North.
Oh really? But everyone feels sorry for her.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Why?
Well, I lived in a place where people in Palmerston North felt sorry for me. But
really?
we used to drive once every 3 months. We would get in the car and we would drive for 2.5 hours to go to Palmerston North, and we would go to McDonald's and we'd have a hamburger, and we'd get in the car and we'd drive 2.5 hours home.
You're kidding me.
Oh my god.
My God.
Palmerston North was the big city for me.
Really?
They have McDonald's?
It's a real cow town. You know, it had a McDonald's, and that made it a real city for where I lived. I lived in a place of like 5,000 people, all army people. In the mountains, it was horrible. But yeah, no. So Palmerston North is cool. I have friends there.
Cool. But it's more like a college town. They've got universities and.
Oh, they got Massey down there, right?
Massey? I don't know.
Okay, she's probably at Massey if she's at university. Yeah, they have cows and a university, and there's an army camp nearby.
I saw in your question and answer video, you said you've become more less anal about time, less punctual.
Less punctual, yes, exactly. I'm really bad. Even in Japan. Yeah, sort of like I had an appointment. Like the other day, I was supposed to meet Tomoko, and I was running late. I'm like, oh my god. If I'm supposed to meet foreigners here in Japan, I'm like, oh, okay, I can be late. I have this mentality.
Right.
But with Japanese people, I still should care about that, right?
I'm sure Tomoko was okay, though.
Yeah, Tomoko was okay, but I was like, oh my god, I've been, like,
You're getting lazy.
I'm getting lazy.
As well. I've been in Japan 15 years now, so whenever someone says, let's meet at 10 o'clock, I show up at 10 o'clock, and when it's like 10:05, and they haven't come yet, I get really irritated.
Really?
I get really irritated.
Yeah,
and then they show up 10 minutes late, like there's nothing wrong, and I'm like,
dude, you're 10 minutes late.
Dude, you're 10 minutes late. But yes, no, that's right. And I didn't used to care about that. But okay, so apart from the bad transportation and lack of punctuality, everything else in Australia was awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to make you say bad things about Australia, but you won't do it for me.
Get to the point. We want you to badmouth Australia.
Complain about Australia, come on.
例えば
So you found Australian people easy to get along with?
big problem. Like they have good support for like unemployed people.
Unemployed people?
That's a big problem.
Homeless people.
Yeah.
In New Zealand. I mean, no.
In Australia.
Yeah, they like to pretend that New Zealanders go over there to be unemployed and live off Australian social welfare, but actually New Zealanders have a lower unemployment rate than Australians, and we pay for all the welfare of New Zealanders in Australia. So we're pretty good with that. But yeah, they still like to. And when Australians are giving me a hard time, like when they said, "Why didn't you come to the Australian embassy party?" I said, "Because they weren't paying unemployment checks." But yes, they like to do that stereotype of us. But you think there's too many unemployed lazy people in Australia?
not too many, but like some people just take advantage of it, right?
That's true.
And if you have kids, you get more money. I don't know how much it is, but it's
A lot of countries like that. Canada's like that. Japan's like that to some extent, right?
not sure.
I
Not
don't
really.
think Japan, not really. The Shakai Hoken is only for a limited time in Australia, but in Japan, but in Australia or New Zealand, some people live their whole lives on the welfare checks. You know, like you get a fixed income from the government if you have no job for as long as you have no job. Yeah, you can have a pretty good life off it, actually. I mean, you know, I shouldn't say.
That's in Australia, right? That's in Australia. You're not New Zealand. Which one?
Same in both countries. Australia, I think, is better than Australia. And that's why Australians thought that unemployed New Zealanders were traveling to Australia for the higher unemployment income. But that's not really fair. Okay, but so why did you come back?
Why did I come back? Well, Nande, you.
Sounds like you're accusing.
You could be unemployed in Australia, living the life of paradise.
No, it's so hard to get a. It's so hard, like to live as a, to live as a student. I was on the student visa still.
Oh, really?
I was working.
Visa.
I was working. Like you can, but on student visa, Australia, you can work.
Yeah.
To a certain amount of time. So I was working only. You can work up to 20 hours per week. Or no, 80 hours per week. Every 2 weeks. So yeah, 40 hours. 20 hours per week.
So we're talking about part-time only, not full-time, not employment visa.
No, it's not bad.
So if you could get a residence visa for Australia, you'd go back?
Yeah, I could live there.
Yeah. But then why did you come back? But did you want to come back to Japan, or was it?
Yeah, I wanted to because I was there for 2 years and I wanted to travel the world more, but I couldn't save much money. I could survive there with my job, even if it was part-time. It was the salary is good in Australia. Everything is expensive, but
I hear it's really expensive.
Australia's kind of cheap.
No, it's really expensive.
Well, it's cheaper than New Zealand anyway. Cost of living. New Zealand is expensive, and New Zealand the income is low, but the cost of living is high. But Australia, it's better pay.
Yeah.
So the prices in Japan are about the same. What do you think?
No, price of Japan's are cheaper.
Japan is cheaper than Australia.
Japan is cheaper than Australia. Yeah, definitely.
Like what? What? Give me an example. That surprises me.
Like if you go to a convenience store, you can buy $1 plastic bottled water in Japan, but it costs like $3 every time in Australia.
Yeah.
Water's expensive. Here you guys are running out of water down there.
Yeah, or anything like a snack, like small snack, like konbini. If we go to konbini, we can buy onigiri, right, for 100 yen. But if I want to buy a sushi roll, like small sushi roll in Australia, it's like $3 to $4.
$3, yeah.
That's pretty bad. So you don't have dollar stores? They don't have the 100 yen store?
They have Daiso, but it's $2.80.
I think $2.
No.
It's gone up.
$2.80? Was it?
It's probably gone up. They used to have $2 stores.
That sucks.
When I was last there 15 years ago.
But still, Daiso is if you go to Australian Daiso, things are cheaper, even if it's like $3, because Australian things are more expensive. So.
Oh, you mean Daiso's cheaper than other regular
other local shops?
I have a question. Did you ever have? And you know what? I don't think Brisbane's much of a problem like this, but you do hear people say with Australia that they have a problem with racism. So did you ever find any kind of issue with that?
In Australia?
Yeah.
Not really, but I've heard like my friends had thrown away eggs.
Yeah.
Have thrown away eggs.
Throw eggs.
Throw at them.
Eggs, or like if there's a party time, there's a party time every time. Schoolies.
Schoolies, which is when you're 18 in Australia. The drinking age is also 18, which is the same year they finish high school.
Jesus, that's young.
No, most countries are 18. In Europe, it's younger. But in Australia, it's 18, and that's
younger than 18 in Europe.
Yeah, like 16 in Spain. I think 15 in Holland.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
wow.
They do. You can actually get a beer with a Happy Meal in Spain.
What?
Not kidding. And the beer is really terrible beer, but you can get it. And
I didn't know.
Just for that. Yeah, Europeans are like.
I drink beer at McDonald's,
But with the with schoolies. So yeah, when they finish the final year of high school in Australia, because they've just become, most of them have just turned 18 and they're also legally able to drink. They have this kind of basically an alcohol-filled riots where they all go down to Gold Coast and they have these kind of big parties, but they also get out of control kind of easily because they're young and they're stupid and they're drinking too much. But yeah, so.
School is season. Like I got warned, like don't try to hang out too much because we are Asian.
Really? Okay. Because one thing with Brisbane as well, and with Queensland generally, there's quite a lot of Asian people.
It's only Gold Coast. On the Gold Coast. In Brisbane, really? I have no problem, but on the Gold Coast.
Yeah. And I have lots of Asian friends.
I thought there were a lot of Japanese on the Gold Coast.
There are many Japanese people on the Gold Coast.
But so because you're Asian, you should stay home?
Yeah, like during the schoolies time.
Because all the country people go to Gold Coast to have these stupid parties and stuff like that.
It's like spring break.
Spring break.
Yeah,
or like 卒業旅行みたいな。卒業 party.
Yeah. But it's just for like it's like for a week, and it's actually kind of just like it's riot police type of stuff. But no, and this is a fair point. Australia's got a bit of a bad rep. It gets a lot of negative press about the race thing, but truth is in Queensland, in particular, there's so many Asian people, and I've got so many friends there. I think it's a pretty easy place to be Asian. I haven't heard that much trouble either. I think it's changing anyway. It used to be, I mean, remember, until 30, 40 years ago, Australia had a policy of not allowing any non-white people to be residents in Australia.
What?
Australia had the White Australia policy until about the 1970s. So
that recent?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
You have to remember, until the 1970s, Aborigine people were not counted in the Australian population either, because they were counted with animal numbers, and they were not. Yeah. So Australia is they were very much like South Africa until pretty recently.
But now you've gone overboard and given the Aborigines all their land back, right?
No. In New Zealand we have.
That's New Zealand. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Australia's more in the baby steps thing with that, but no question, Australia's come a long, long way. Australia's got a very dark history in that area, and they've still got a bad reputation from it. But if you go there now, and I'm very glad to hear actually that Kazuko had no problems, because maybe 30 years ago, for the first Vietnamese people and the first Chinese people in Australia, I think it might have been kind of tough. But I think now it's actually a very comfortable place to be.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think if you're a foreigner in Japan, you always get do you speak like Japanese, English, or like they sort of tomadou?
Yeah.
Japanese people get lost, but in Australia, they just normal. They talk to me normal. They talk to they do 現地人と喋るみたいに私にも喋ってくれるから。
They speak with you as
you're a local. Well, I mean, everyone now has learned that that people are now it's pretty normal to have Asian Australians, right? Australians who have grown up in Australia but that are Japanese. I think Lensei, for example, he's half, his mum's Caucasian. He grew up in Gold Coast, but yeah, he's probably from the first sort of generation where there were a lot of Asian people growing up in Australia, and in school and everything, everyone had friends who were like Asian friends and stuff. So yeah, it's nice that they presume they don't presume you're a foreigner first. I guess so. That's kind of good. Which in Japan is still different to that.
Oh yeah.
So what do you like about Japan? You came back to Japan. You must have been like, 帰ってきてよかった like for some things when you came back to Japan.
No, it's weird. Like even if you're away for a long time, when you're in Japan, it's your home country, so you don't. It's natural. Like なんかずっと日本にいたみたい。Does it make sense?
Yeah. You didn't have any reverse culture shock?
Reverse culture shock? 日本のスーパーマーケット or convenience store or anything, like wrapping. Too much in Japan. Like they wrap stuff too much. I have to say, please don't. I don't want it. I have to tell it all the time in Japan. That's one thing.
Yeah.
そう。なんかオーストラリア人は丁寧じゃないけどフレンドリーだね。
Yeah.
Australians are not polite, but they're friendly.
丁寧だよ。Not polite. I mean not polite. 丁寧って何 polite? そうか。
Well,
Tene has different meanings. It can be polite, but it could also mean like kind of attention to detail, kind of easygoing. So as someone who grew up in both countries,
So they're not anal.
so some people are kind of thinking I'm bashing Australia as well. I'm not. I mean, like I say, I try to look at. I'm trying to see if there's lots of angles to it. But I think actually, what I like about Australia, Australians have a lot of confidence, I think, and it comes from they're very lucky. They're in a country that
I know.
They live in this place with great weather, great food, great lifestyle. They live on mountains of gold, and they just have to dig holes and they can be rich. It's kind of unfair, but it means that's why they never. When you talk with Australian people about the attitude to working, they're always relaxed about working because everyone kind of understands.
Yeah.
They're not working to save their lives. They're working because they choose to, and that's kind of it changes the whole mentality in Australia.
The quality of life is different, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's kind of interesting because I find myself, Australia and Japan are so different. I find it kind of refreshing, but I get culture shock when I travel between Japan and Australia. But you didn't find that? I find there's quite a big difference.
Like what kind of culture shock?
Okay, maybe because I'm in Tokyo, maybe this is different in Nagoya. I remember, for example, when I first went to Brisbane after some years, like in Australia, strangers who you don't know look straight at you all the time. And like when you were in a shopping queue at the supermarket, lady behind me, I bought lots of souvenirs to take back to Japan. Like I bought lots of sweets. The old lady behind me tapped me on the shoulder. Said, are you going to eat all of that? And why are you talking to me?
Right. Yeah, they are really friendly, aren't they?
They're very friendly, but when you're used to Tokyo, where nobody interacts with anybody, you can be pressed up against someone like this, and they pretend like you don't exist.
Yeah, I had that kind of feeling. When I came back to Japan, I got Shinkansen from Osaka to Nagoya.
Yeah.
And I had to use the plug on the wall. I had to charge my phone, and there was the guy sitting next to me, young guy, maybe probably around the same my age. And like, すいません、これ繋いでいいですか? And I thought he'll be like, oh sure, I was expecting friendly response, but he was just nodding, not looking at me, just like that. So I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, in the bubble. But this is, I mean, Osaka people though, actually, so this is another thing. Whenever I explain to Japanese people the difference between New Zealanders and Australians, I think Australians are kind of like Osaka people. And I explain New Zealanders are more like Tohoku people.
Tohoku people.
If you like Tohoku people are a bit more stoic. They're a little bit quieter. Osaka people are quite open. They talk to strangers. They have a sense of humor. Kiwis have terrible sense of humor. But also known to be
loud and obnoxious.
Well, it depends on your perspective. If you don't like Osakan people, you probably won't like Australian people. But if you like Osaka culture, you'd probably be comfortable in Australia.
Oh. Well, I guess that's okay because I like Osaka people.
I think you'd do fine in Australia, and honestly, I think you would do fine in Australia. But there's a lot of there's a thing within Japan. Tohoku people and Kansai people generally are not very compatible. The culture is quite different domestically, and it's the same kind of difference actually. But I kind of grew up in both. So I kind of when I'm in Australia, I know it's okay to relax and not take things personally. But when I'm going from Tokyo to Australia, I do get that culture shock. I have to adjust to Australians being so open.
Right.
And when I come back, the reverse is true, I guess, as well.
Do you are you okay with adjusting, or do you want certain way?
No, I'm okay now. I find it refreshing to go back to Australia sometimes. But I'm comfortable in Tokyo. I've lived here most of my life now. So and I think actually also Tokyo is a little bit maybe kind of more like New Zealand in some ways for me, like the way that people are.
Really?
Yeah, New Zealanders are a bit like Tokyo. We're a bit quiet. We're not as outgoing as Australians. But I like Australians, and I've got lots of Australian friends here actually. So
Right. So what are the good things about New Zealand, Kiwi people?
Kiwi people got kuki omeru.
Kuki omeru. Really?
They can read between the lines. They can tell. They can read the atmosphere in the room.
Okay. What New Zealanders and English people and Japanese people share in common that Americans and Australians are not so good at. When a New Zealander or a Japanese person comes into the room, the first thing they do is they observe who the other people are and what they're doing before they start to talk. Australians and Americans tend to start by talking. They tend to project.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree.
They project first. Kiwis are more mindful of how they look and the other people around, and that's the area that I find comfortable about Japanese people. That we're
I didn't know. I didn't notice that. I had a Kiwi friend, and she was
loud.
like Australian. No, not loud, but she was quiet. But she was like, I don't know, relaxed, laid back.
Oh, and of course, they're loud. They're very nice Australians, and they're very loud Kiwis, of course. So I'm being very generalist here. But one thing about Kiwis in Australia is that the Kiwis tend to be a little bit quieter than the Australians.
Right.
They tend to act nice, and it's not because we're necessarily nice. It's just we're from a culture that everybody is always looking at each other, so we're a little bit more self-conscious about trying to look nice.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit more, and that's it's
more self-conscious about trying to look nice. You mean? What do you mean look nice? You mean your clothing?
Well, the point is, in New Zealand, the worst thing that you can be in New Zealand culture is eraso. If you appear to anyone else like you're being eraso,
stuck up or proud, arrogant, I guess.
You know, and so anyone who talks too much, and I talk too much for New Zealand culture, if you talk too much, or if you're too loud, or you're talking about yourself all the time, and you know that in New Zealand culture, you'll be sugu kiriwareru. But in Australia,
how about, do you take over the conversations like Australians do?
Kiwis talk. We talk half a sentence, and then the other person says the other half of the sentence, and we overlap. And Australians don't do that, but Australians project. Australians like to tell jokes. They like to appeal. I don't know. And so for me, I find Australians are funnier. I find it's fun with Australians, but I know a lot of New Zealanders. I'll be in the same conversation. I'll hear the New Zealander say, "Nanka itsu jikochu." But for me, I like that. But you know, for some reason,
what is the English that they would use in that situation?
What do you mean?
I'm just trying to imagine.
Well, like I say, I mean, if you can just imagine a person, you know, like a comedian, a guy who likes to be in the center of the conversation, who's telling everyone a story or whatever, and they're being very animated or whatever.
And funny.
Me, I like that. But Kiwis tend not to be like that. They tend not to be that guy in the middle of the room.
So how do they refer to those attention whores?
He's up himself.
He's up himself. Oh, okay.
He's up himself. He's a bit, you know, I don't know, a bit of a dick. He's a bit of a, you know, they have this thing.
I don't think Americans would say he's up himself. I think we'd probably say that guy's an asshole.
Yeah, and there's a distinction between that, but that's something I think Canadians
maybe a snob. I don't know.
Canadians are like New Zealanders as well. We kind of do things the same way. But see, for me as well, I can see it from the Australian side as well, because I grew up in Australia. Kiwis are just kind of sulky.
Sulky? What does sulky mean?
Like,
what does it mean?
がっかりじゃないけど、いつも暗い。
でブツブツなんかなんだいつ偉そうなんかうるさいなとかで、you know what I mean, without being just kind of.
日本人みたいね。
Yeah, that's exactly what they're like. So that's kind of why I find Japanese kind of familiar. But the truth is, I like Osaka people. I like Osaka and I like Australia as well. So I'm kind of flexible, and I grew up moving house so much. I learned to be kind of adjustable. So when I was in Japan for a long time, I had trouble going back to Australia.
Right.
Trouble going back?
My first time I went back to Australia, I got reverse culture shock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like a friendly people or...
Yeah, just people suddenly talking to me. I'm like, why are you talking to me? I was like your friend, but by the train trying to ignore you. I was that guy. You know, which is kind of embarrassing because I'm not like that. But I was like that when I went back. So that's why I find it really interesting. You found it so easy to switch back and forth, actually, because I find that's a really big difference.
Yeah, well, I only lived there for 2 years, so it's not
That's
that
a long
long.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm okay with adjusting to the countries.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone, Marcin Sibyl is asking, so are Kiwis like the Canadians of the Australians?
Thank you. That's what I was trying to ask you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you for figuring that out.
Yes, we are. That's exactly.
Like, do you guys do Kiwis pretend not? They go out of the way to make sure no one mistakes them mistake them for Australians? Because Canadians will have those big flags. They'll wear those stickers on in the patches.
Many do, or at least if you no, it's not so much that we'll wear big New Zealand flags. We don't do that nationalism thing. But if you mistake a New Zealander, and they'll say, "Oh, so are you from Australia?" You will get an earful from most New Zealanders. You'll get a fuck off, you know.
One more time.
If you mistake a New Zealander for an Australian,
oh, okay.
A lot of the time they will get upset and they'll give you a big earful. They'll tell you.
But they won't wear patches or anything.
No, not quite that. Like, we don't do the flag. New Zealanders aren't really aren't very nationalistic.
Do that quite a bit. Apparently.
Canadians do that, but yeah, and Americans like to carry Canadian flags so that they don't get hijacked by terrorists.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, but that's a stupid thing. My father is like that. He was New Zealand Army in Australia, so but I'm not like that.
All right. You want to take some questions from the?
Yeah, let's go through some questions.
From the peanut section here. Let's see. Well, I don't know. We got to start. We have. By the way, we have comments that are as old as 4 days ago.
Huh?
I said.
By the way, Illusion said something important, which I'll repeat. I said it before, but of course it depends on the person. Every single case. We're making really big generalizations here that are completely unfair most of the time, but it's fun, and this is the internet. so we're going to stereotype. So questions.
Okay. In the late 1990s, I worked with an Aussie in New York City. He said that they would often get drunk at lunch and go home. Any truth?
Friday.
Oh,
Friday lunch. Yeah, on Friday at lunchtime, they just finish work and they just start drinking.
Yeah.
At lunchtime?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
After
Well, going home is a little bit extreme.
We finally found a home.
Going home is a little bit extreme, but certainly getting drunk at lunch on Friday is pretty normal, and at least doing the work in the afternoon.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pubs open at lunchtime. They start. Yeah.
It's called liquid lunch. You have a Friday liquid lunch, and usually the whole company will go out together.
Lunch and go home. Well, I have got to leave this country immediately.
Well, no, it just means
we're moving to Australia.
You go to a nice restaurant. You go to a nice restaurant, and you'll have lots of beers, maybe some wine with lunch.
Beer and wine.
Everyone's in a good mood, and they go back to the office, and they don't get any work done.
Okay. Let's see. Which country is more obsessed with sheep?
Sorry.
Which country is more obsessed with sheep?
Australia. No, I think New Zealand.
New
It's
Zealand.
changed in New Zealand, but it's changed. We used to be more so. Now we're becoming more cosmopolitan, and we're into other animals.
Okay. Someone said you can live your whole life on welfare checks. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Yeah. It's called the dole.
The dole.
You can there's no time limit on it.
All right. I'm just going through the questions real quick. Cost of living cheaper. Cost of living in Japan is cheaper, but Japanese learn less salary. Do you think that's true?
Cost of living in Japan cheaper.
Is cheaper, but the Japanese salary is also less.
Yeah, that's true. I think. What do you think?
I don't know. I've never worked in Australia. All my working life, I've lived in Australia.
He was on the dole the whole time.
I've just been on the dole. I'm a New Zealander. But I don't know. That's interesting. I always assumed I was living in Japan because I thought I was getting paid more here.
No, because Australian salary is really high. Like even if I do a cleaning job, even if I was a cleaner, I would get probably like 15 to 20, maybe probably $20 per hour.
Really, that's pretty good. That's like double what you'd get here. You'd get 800 yen, $8 an hour here, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
10 would be considered to be lower.
Yeah, and I'm so disconnected now from that kind of stuff, but that's interesting. That even surprises me because I thought I was coming to Japan to get paid more. But yeah.
All right. Australia is too damn hot for me and has too many dangerous creatures.
So
you guys are
that's an excellent point, and that is actually the biggest problem for New Zealanders in Australia is that New Zealand doesn't have any dangerous animals or insects or snakes. But Australia, like everything in Australia, is poisonous and dangerous and can kill you.
You have the poisonous blue octopus.
Yes, they have the blue-ringed octopus.
The blue-ringed octopus, yes.
But like there are 10 different types of spiders that can kill you in Australia, and I don't know what. Like for example, they talk about the trapdoor spider, and I don't know what it looks like. So every time I'm in Australia and I see a spider, I'm like, oh my god, that could be a trapdoor spider.
You gotta look it up.
I'm scared of everything that moves in Australia.
No, it's not that bad. Maybe if you want to be careful with snakes, though. I think.
I think that's a good rule for life.
Well, basically, any country of snakes. If you don't know what it is, you shouldn't touch it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see any other questions here. This explains why a guy I met in Kyushu openly dislikes Osaka and its people. He met a Japanese guy in Kyushu who says he hates.
Kyushu people are pretty conservative, though. Again, they're a different type again. But yeah,
I have no idea.
People, I think within Japan though, there's real skikirai with Kansai, right? There's people who love Kansai people. There's people who pretend to speak Kansai accent and be like Manzai people.
Definitely an acquired taste, yes.
But there's people who hate Manzai, and there's people who really hate that. I mean, it's I get that. People take that both ways.
Right.
I like Osaka people. I find, they're
Yeah.
fun, they're outgoing.
Yeah. Fun, friendly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a question, a technical question. How is everyone with the sound? We've got one person complaining, but only one person. So I think that person's probably got shitty speakers. How about everyone else? How's everyone doing with our sound tonight?
Oto?
Sounds good to me.
The commenters. Let us know what you think about the sound. In the meantime, I've got something we're going to start a new. We have a new section to the show tonight that Hiko and I were talking about a few weeks ago. It's the 10 questions.
Oh.
And 10 questions. We haven't developed this yet.
Yes. You're going to be the guinea pig. You're going to be the hamster.
Yes. Yes.
何ハムスター
Yeah, you're the hamster.
なんだっけピギ、なんだっけなんとかピッグ。
The pig in the middle. I don't know. Yes, the guinea pig.
ギニピッグ、そうそう。モルモット。ギニピッグ。
They say morumoto, right?
The lemming, if it goes badly.
Yeah. So this is the deal. We're going to ask you 10 questions, right?
Okay.
And I will post them so Hiko can see them as well. Hiko, I'll post them in the sidebar here. Where the hell? Where's the sidebar?
Where can I see it?
Yeah, you'll be able to see them. Okay, here we go. These are the 10 questions. Can you guys see that?
No. Oh,
There.
I can.
Here it comes.
Did you see that, Hiko?
I see it.
Okay. These are actually stolen from the inside the actor studio, but today's the first day, so we're just going to steal them today.
We can improvise using these.
We'll revise them, yeah. This is the...
Should we do, you do one, I'll do one?
All right. Okay, first question, easy one for you. What is your favorite word?
What is my favorite word?
In Japanese and in English. Give us one of each.
Okay. It's not actually apparently it's not a phrase, but it's be hopey, like be positive. Like do you know be hopey? Yeah, be
I don't
hopey.
know be Hopi, but I've got a Ken Tanaka painting on my wall of Hopi, the hopeful giraffe.
Huh.
That's Hopi.
Okay.
Be hopey. So in Japanese, なんだろうね。なんとかなる。
なんとかなる。Yeah.
なんとかなる。
Somehow it will all be okay.
Okay, so...
Okay.
Actually, you should ask, because the next question is the inverse. So you should ask the two, and then I'll ask the next two.
Next question, and the inverse. What is
And then,
what is your least favorite word?
what is my least favorite word in English?
Mhm.
なんだろうね。難しいね。I want to, but, B-U-T, but.
But, okay, kido. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
B-U-T,
Japanese?
Japanese. 一緒。何したいんだけど。
So the same.
うん
But
Okay,
I want to
so you
go
don't like that.
だけど、行きたいんだけど。
Then just do it, I want to say.
All right.
Okay, the next one is another pair, so I'll do both of them. And this is from Victor, so I apologize. I had nothing to do with this. What
That was
turns
from Actress Studio. Blame that guy, whatever his name is.
this pervert gave me this question to ask. It's not my fault. What turns you on?
What turns you on?
Yes.
なんだろうね。
And you can't say us.
Big smile.
Big smile. What turns you off?
And you off. タバコ。
Oh, smokers.
Very good.
Smoke. Good answer. Good answer. Can't argue with that.
Victor?
All right, next one. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise? I like the sound of waterfall. I just went to Yatsugatake yesterday. Was it? Yeah, or something. And the waterfall was really nice. I like the sound of water.
Very good.
Like, how about when you pee?
違う、それ違う。
That's a different.
No,
Okay,
that one.
okay Hiko.
Stop. Well, the next one is the opposite, so...
Okay, what sound or noise do you hate?
I don't like cicada, semi?
Cicada.
Oh, cicada.
Cicada.
Semi.
Cicada. Is it cicada?
Cicada, I think it was.
Cicada.
Yeah.
Semi?
English it's cicada. Maybe Australian English is different, but in American English it's cicada for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cicada.
I think I got the best question next, so I'm kind of... So what is your favorite swear word?
Swear word.
Swear
What's my swear word? Screw you.
Screw you? That's pretty soft. Okay,
Really?
nice. Screw you. I like that.
But it's aggressive. You're
like
attacking
it.
someone.
What about in Japanese?
We don't really curse in Japan, do we?
Sure you do.
So, Chikshaw.
There's not so many. There's only XO.
Shine.
Shine is really bad. I would never say that.
That doesn't mean anything to me. If you say shine to me, I just like a giggle.
Really?
Yeah, that doesn't mean. I don't care. I don't feel it. It's like the word fuck you. If you say fuck you to me, I kind of feel that on a gut level. But shine, I have no. Even though I understand it, I don't really feel it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. You do the next one.
Okay. What profession, other than your own, would you like to tell everyone what you do today, or no? Is it a secret, your job?
My job? Maybe it's a secret.
It's a secret, okay. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. Whatever, forget about your job, what it is now. But what other job would you like to have besides this one? What other profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt? Try.
Attempt. YouTuber.
Oh, professional YouTuber. Cool.
Fair enough. So
That's good. You got you got a good start. You got 4,004 subs as we started the show.
you have indeed.
And I'm sure all of our viewers will go over to her channel, Kazuko from Japan, and
Yes, please.
another 100 people should join tonight if you're not already subbed to her.
お願いします.
I'll ask the opposite. What profession would you not like to do?
難しいね. Good question. Not like to do. あれ. Office worker.
Office worker. That's interesting.
Simple answer. Isn't that kind of what Hiko does?
Yeah, I'm salary man.
No offense. No offense.
No. Okay. Here's a tough one. Here's the toughest one. This is the question that I thought I should prepare you, but I didn't. So you're not prepared. She's not prepared for this. But if heaven exists, and you go to heaven, assuming you don't go to hell for all the terrible things you've done as a YouTuber, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
何 pearly gates? Like shiny gates?
This the genkan, basically.
天国の入門入った時に何神様に言われたいのか。
何神様に言われたいのか？人生を楽しみましたね。
That's a nice answer. You had a good life, didn't you? 人生を楽しみました.
You certainly had a good time, didn't you?
そうそう。
That's the way Hiko says this makes it sound bad.
なんで
Well, you had a good time.
Going into heaven at the time, so although that could be
would
bad
say the
sign.
same thing, though.
That's right.
You had a good time, so that's why you're here.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time because now you're here.
That's a pretty good answer. Hiko. What do you think?
I think that's an
How
excellent
about you guys? How about you guys?
Oh, we don't play the game. We only ask.
That's not fair.
V asks the questions.
Well, there actually we've discussed actually interviewing each other someday, but not quite yet, right?
Not quite. Okay.
Yeah, well, we have to remain mysterious. That's how we keep us.
No one knows anything about us.
That's right.
Secret.
But so everyone,
are you coming to Tokyo on September 6th?
Yes, I will. I'll be there.
You are. You coming? Okay, so everybody, if you want to meet
and that's
Kazuko
what's
from
important
Japan,
about today's date. Today, August 6th, 1 month from today.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, exactly 1 month.
Yes.
So forget about us because we know none of you really want to meet us. But if you want to meet Kazuko from Japan, and why wouldn't you want to meet Kazuko from Japan? She's going to be at the party. It's going to be like the best party of the whole year, and she's coming to Tokyo as everyone else should on September 6th.
What it's like?
Sorry?
What it's like?
What's it like?
What's it like? We've done it twice at this place so far. Every year it's been like best party ever. And already
This is the fourth year. Hiko is fourth year now this year, right?
Yeah, we're doing it. It'll be the third year that we've done it at this place. The fourth year that we've done a summer YouTube gathering.
No, we did it twice at this place, right?
Twice before, so this will be the third time at this place.
Right.
And the fourth time we've done a party.
Totally. Okay, total.
Is it a big place?
It's big enough. It's not a huge place, but so far, I mean, I put up the Facebook RSVP page yesterday, and there's already 70 confirmed coming.
Yes, I'm very impressed with that. That's amazing. And the link is in the description, so if you want to come, you're interested, check the link in the description. And
please, if you can come, it really does help if you do the RSVP because at the moment, at this rate, if it gets to like 80 people or 100 people, I can ask them to secure a bigger space. They told me if there's more people, they'll get more space. So I really need to kind of have an idea of the number of people coming. So it really helps me out to make sure that we have enough room for everybody to have a great party. If you RSVP and say that you're coming, But yeah, no. It's I mean, already fantastic response. It has. I mean, this isn't even a test. This is a proven, I think, the best party gathering. You know, because it's inside. It's right beside the Roppongi Kosaten. So Party Central in Tokyo. It's indoors, so regardless of the weather, it's not like the Hanami. It's going to be 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. To ourselves, and then open after that. And people just stay all night and have a great time. People come from all over the world. They come from other countries.
Yes.
They come from all over Japan. And this year's going to be the same, and it's going to be awesome. So you should totally come.
And this year we're hoping nobody dies, because in the last few years we always lose one or two. But this
I hope Victor doesn't bite anybody this time.
Bite or bite? I don't remember.
Yeah, but
I hope to remember this year.
Andre
every year I have to look at the photographs and say, what did I do that?
Andre Piatra is asking, are you welcome too? And you are indeed welcome, Andre Piatra, especially you.
Everyone's welcome.
Everyone is welcome, except Hitler.
Literally everyone except Hitler.
I put an exception there for Hitler, but everyone other than Hitler is welcome.
Hitler is not welcome.
Hitler, if you're watching this, stay away.
Yes. Everyone else is welcome. All right, well that's it for tonight. Next week, Hiko, are you going to be around? Next week it's Obon, sorry, Obon.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be working and rocking and doing all that stuff. So I'll be around.
Okay, me too.
And of course, Kazuko, this was fun, and you're welcome if you'll have us back. Be great to get you on the show again sometime.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, September.
And in the future, if you are sexually harassed and you want to come on the show and talk about it,
right? Maybe I have a story after the meet up.
But I hope you're not, and I hope that's not the reason you come back next time. Right, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for all the thumbs up. 120 thumbs up. I think it may be a new record for this.
It could possibly be.
And guess what, Hiko? I already set up my my next show in 2 weeks, 20th.
I already set up. Well, you saw. By the way, I already set up the countdown for the party.
Oh, that's great. Where is it?
31 days countdown. The awesomest countdown ever on.
Where's the link? You got to send me the link. I'll put it in the description here.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Tweet it out. All right, that is amazing. That's great. That's a great idea.
Best countdown ever.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Hiko Simon's channel. Good night. Peace out.
Night.
Subscribe to Kazuko from Japan.
Yes, Kazuko from Japan. Links in the description. Already there.
Yeah.
What's that?